beef, what we have found is as much as an 85% difference in nutrient density between grass-fed beef from animals fed in highly diverse pastures and conventional grain-fed beef. Now think about the power that has on our health each and every day and cumulative lifetime.
So I saw that on Instagram, and TikTok will absolutely tell me I can't do these kind of videos because it's not original, but I don't care. I need to poke the bear. The whole grass-fed, grain-fed debate. Yeah. I think it's a flex if people can do grass-fed properly to where you can't tell the difference between if you didn't know the color of the fat before it was cooked and someone put it down there in front of you with a ribeye from a feedlot, you're probably going to like the grain-fed a lot more. That grain-fed animal or the grass-fed animal walked a lot more, got exercise. That grain-fed animal stood in a lot of its own shit and piss for the last 4 months of its life. One of these practices sequesters the shit out of carbon and could literally be the nation's largest tool to fight climate change and sequester carbon into the soil. And one expels a shitload of carbon, whether it would be in the planting, fertilizing, spraying, harvesting, transporting of the crops or of the cattle or of the manure. Which all of those deplete the soil. Grass-fed builds the soil. You need grass-fed is an art. It's like the dance of all dances. I think that's the biggest flex. Like grain-fed's easy. Just fucking put them in a pen and throw them a bunch of food once or twice a day. Okay, a fucking monkey can do that. Grass-fed, you got to know how to dance with nature. You got to know your forages. You got to know them. You got to identify them. You got to know when to cut them. You got to know when to graze them. You got to know when to hold them, when to hold them, know when to fold. Oh, sorry. It's a dance. Like, it's a very gray area. The feed is what puts the flavor in the fat. And you got to have the right balance of fat. Too much fat, you get a Texas Roadhouse ribeye, right? Not enough fat, you get a fucking hunk of a hockey puck from Jim Bob's Grass-Fed in Tallahatchie, Florida, right? It's a very fucking gray area. No different than booze. Take, for example, this High West bourbon out of Park City, Utah. 46 proof. Let's take a sip, shall we? Not a big liquor guy, but Santa Claus sent this to me. God damn, that's smooth. Jim Beam's like, you just fucking took a shot of fucking Jim's hot sauce when it gets down in here. That's very smoky and oaky. It's delightful. But I'll guarantee you that bourbon was made a lot different than Jim Beam. And the ingredients probably are different. Like, each brewery has its own, like, thing, right? No different than a farmer or a rancher. You can all say you're grain-fed, but you all probably do it a little differently. Your fucking mixtures are a little different depending on where you live, what you can grow, what's around, what's available. It's all a dance. And I think if you can do the grass-fed and get it done properly, like, You've conquered Mount Everest of the bovine feeding challenges, because they need like a Ryan's all-you-can-eat buffet of forages in front of them 24/7, 365, and it's still going to take you 4 to 6 months longer than a grain-fed. So there's that additional cost, right? More time, but also that time spent is it's all positive in the ecosystem. Like every day the animal's alive, it's contributing to a positive feedback loop. Where a grain-fed, just think of the quality of life, right? A grass-fed cow gets to express the cowiness of the cow. I hate that I say that, and Joel Salatin's in my head because I don't like Joel Salatin. But he was right. He was right about that. Animals get to express their natural instincts in these kind of environments and on these farms and feedlot and confinement operations like these giant chicken, turkey, pig barns where they're just confined to a cage is fucking cruel. It's cruel. You'll never convince me. Like, that's grain fed. It's grain fed. I'm on team grass fed beef till the day I die. I'm on team grass fed everything, but I'm also down if you want to feed them grain while you grass feed them. Like, nobody says you have to fucking just do grass. Like, I'm totally down with you choosing to like let the animal choose their diet, like provide them all the goodies. Here's all the grass you can eat today. Here's a bunch of grain. Here's fresh, clean water. That's the most important thing. Fresh, clean water is your best rate of gain ever. I was fucking obsessed with keeping my cow's water clean. Like, if I looked in there and I wouldn't put my head in there to fucking shake it off on a hot day and maybe even take a little, I don't want them drinking it. Like, I want to see the bottom of that shit. I don't want to see algae and moss and all sorts. But yet then they'll go drink out of the creek. So I was a little excessive. But fresh, clean water. That is the most, like, I can't emphasize that enough. No matter what animal you have, fresh, clean water. And the ability to get out of the weather. Even if it's a simple windbreak for cows. The less calories they have to burn to stay warm or whatever, the quicker they're going to get done, and the happier life they're living. So, team grass fed.